Elder Gil Trott of the African Studies Club has again called on people of African descent, especially the youth, to be proud of their ancestry at this year's Ancestors Memorial Service, or what's popularly known as the wreath-tossing ceremony, in memory of the millions of lives lost during the transatlantic slave trade. This year's event, held on February 7th next to the Crafts Alive village in Road Town, Elder Trott said repeatedly that people of African descent are persuaded to ignore or forget their ancestry.
All other ethnic groups that I know of are encouraged to know their history, to learn their history, all except us. We are discouraged. Forget about it, they say. Forget about it. Can you imagine that? Forget about your ancestors, great-great-grandmother and everybody? I don't think that's right. Never did. Whatever history they've given us, most of it has been stolen, starts with the transatlantic slave trade. Our history didn't start there. I remember a story about Count Volney of France. Count Volney was compiling a dictionary in Kemet, Egypt. Then suddenly he stopped what he was doing and he looked up and he said, "These people are the source of all of our arts and sciences, and we have made them our slaves." The thought alone bothered him. And he was bothered for revealing that by his peers of that day. But we can't afford to forget anything that happened to us. Because if you do not know what went on behind you, there's no way you can understand what is going on around you. And that is part of the problem of our youth today. Can you imagine sitting next to someone, now that the schools are integrated, and all of history is about them, nothing about you? Can you imagine how our children will feel later in life?
Speakers at the past 6 ceremonies, including Dr. Melvin Turnbull of the King Garden Bay Baptist Church, have called on people of African descent to appreciate their rich ancestry, which included kings and queens. Minister for Education and Culture Myron Walwyn welcomed the memorial ceremony to observe Black History Month in the Virgin Islands. He cited a need for a recommitment to work together to build the Virgin Islands.
Marcus Mosiah Garvey said that a people without a knowledge of their past history is like a tree without roots. And it's very true. And so it's important that gatherings just as this continue, and all the things that we continue to do to make sure that our people understand the past, because it'll come back again, but it'll come back in a different form. And we have to be able to recognize it for what it is. And so it's very fitting as well that this event is being held during Black History Month, because even while we look at our past history and we look at where we are today as a people and as a country and where we have come from, it also says to us that there's a lot more work for us to do as a people, as an ethnic group. Because when you look around, even our little Virgin Islands, you see all the other groups are working together. And when they work together, they advance. But sometimes when you take a look at us, we tend sometimes to take more time or spend more time tearing down each other rather than building up each other. And so I think while we celebrate this, let us recommit ourselves to working together as a people to make this country, the Virgin Islands, a better place for all of us to live in. Let us try our best to, when we see a brother trying or a sister trying, to give a helping hand, to lift them up and build them up and say that your success is my success, rather than looking at your success as perhaps my failure. And I think that is somewhere that we have gone wrong, and we all need to do some work in correcting that part of ourselves. But certainly it's a very good start that we have here, the Virgin Islands Studies program at the college. I know there are a number of persons who have said very good things about the program. We are doing Virgin Islands history in the schools. As a matter of fact, when we started to work on the curriculum, we called Dr. Cathy Smith, Christopher, and Saunde to assist us in making sure that we put things into the proper context. And we didn't focus too much on the slave trade, but of course, looking at it before that, so that people can understand from whence we came. But again, I want to congratulate you and let you know that you have the full support of the Ministry of Education and Culture and the full support of the government to make sure that this continues.
The wreath-tossing ceremony was started by Elder Gil Trott 6 years ago. It includes libations, prayers, poems, drums, and songs. Head of the Virgin Islands Studies Institute at HLSCC, Dr. Anhill Smith, shared a historical overview of the history of the Virgin Islands in this year's event. You can watch the ceremony right here on JTV Channel 55 throughout this month. JTV will also be broadcasting various documentaries in observance of African History Month.